Today we're going to be doing some interesting board work. Yeah. Okay, so basically what we're going to be doing is taking offset voxels to create angular boards that can sit on a surface. Okay, I've got some examples of what I'm talking about here. Um, but what we want to do is be able to apply it to handmade boards like this and be able to have them sit up there and they actually look like they belong. But as we know, when we try to put stuff at angles across, handmade boards like this, a lot of times they distort. Well, we want to kind of get around that. So in turn, we're going to be using offset voxels to do so. And we're going to have one that kind of sits, halfway into the boards, and then we're going to have another one that sits right onto the surface of the board, and it doesn't distort them. And we'll show you how to put nails and stuff into it. And we found an interesting way to do that on my Twitch stream today, which was kind of cool. All right, so to kind of kick this off, we need two different offsets created. The first one is this one right here, and that is simply taking a 2x2 line tool, clicking, putting it up against the wall, and then going up to the third voxel and clicking. So we have something like this. And we're going to take one of those voxels from the side of it. So let's go ahead and grab one of those, pull it off to the side here, bringing it up, paste, dragging it back one like this, holding F and clicking. This is going to give us a basically a 1.0 offset voxel. In other words, it extends one voxel away from a default voxel. So if I had a standard voxel put up here like this, you can kind of see it stretches out double its length, like so. Now, we're next going to take that voxel, we're going to copy it, paste it, bring it down one voxel below the bottom, push it in underneath, hold F, and click. And what it's going to do is it's going to push the bottom of that voxel upwards. Okay, and this will allow us to have an offset voxel that is pretty much exactly one voxel off. So that right there is what we're creating. This is the physical location, and up here where you see it is the visual location of the offset. Now we need to make one more offset to go ahead and continue on with what it is that we're doing. So let's go ahead and make the other offset, and we're going to use a 2x2 line tool. I'm going to click here at the bottom, drag it up the wall, and click. Now this wall here is 7 voxels high. That's the height that we want to actually drag that line tool up to. Over here, like I said, this is up to the 3rd voxel. This one goes up to the 7th voxel. Now, in the same regards as what we just did, we're going to grab the top voxel off of this here. Let me paint this so you can actually see what we have. We have this, and we're going to be taking the one right here at the top, right there. So let's copy this, bring it over, and I'm going to put it in the same location as what we had for these, so you can see the differences in between them. Paste one there, drop it back one voxel, holding F, click. Now I'm going to take a copy of this, and as you can see, this one's a lot longer than the one that we made previously. Control C to copy, Control V to paste. Bring this down one voxel below, push it in underneath, press and hold F, and click with your mouse button. In this one, you can see the differences in between one that is a default voxel, one that is 1 voxel off, and this one here is a 1.5 voxel. In other words, it is 1.5 voxels off from a default voxel. Now if I grab this one, you can see the difference in between the distance away from that default voxel area, or the physical location and the visual location of this default voxel. Okay, now with this, we're going to start creating our boards, and let's go ahead and we're gonna actually let's start with the smaller one first, because this is the one that most people will probably end up using. We'll use this one, and what we're going to do with this is we're going to create an angle out of this single voxel. So let's go ahead and take this. I'm going to paste, and I'm going to do this one at basically a 45-degree angle, and you'll see this here kind of start taking form. And it's basically creating like a V shape, like this. And we're just going to repeat this kind of over and over again. And you can create other angles depending on how you lay this out, and I'll show you once we get to the next one. It'll be pretty cool. You'll kind of get the gist of this, I think. So, all right. So we're going to make this fairly long. I think that right there should do. That should be long enough. Once we get to this part, we're going to grab the whole thing, and as you can tell, the actual physical location is down below what we actually see, but we're going to copy this. We're going to paste it up into the air, and we're just going to bring it down one at a time and create this vertical plane of this. We're going to do about 13, 14, you know, doesn't really matter the length as long as you're at least above 13 of them, okay? And we're going to grab this top, drag it all the way down to the bottom, pull it up by 1, push it down by 1, so that we can retain the shaping that we have, and it doesn't kind of fall apart on us. But once we get to this, we're going to take our smooth tool, we're going to hold and press F, and we're going to start smoothing this. I'm going to do this just a few times, 3 or 4 times, and you should be pretty good. We can kind of look at it and see how much it's actually smoothing. Let's do it a few more times here. See if we can kind of just bring it out just a bit, and that looks good. So about six clicks of it, and let's go ahead and grab a center section out of this. But before I do that, let's paint it, because I want to show you basically what we've created. Okay, I'm going to paint this, and you can see it is offset from this physical location by 1 voxel. It has still retained itself, and that is kind of what we're after here. Okay, now I'm going to Control Z back out of this, and I'm going to Control C to copy it, Control V to paste, and we're going to pull this out into the world so we can actually look at it. And you can see it's got like little waves in it, and this is kind of the idea of what we're after for the most part. You can smooth it a few more times if you wish, but this kind of gives it just a little bit of, you know, roughness. Okay, now what we're going to do now is we're going to take the ends, and right now they're like circular like this, but we want to, instead of having flattened ends like this, we want to have angled ends like this, so it looks like an actual board that's being cut. And to do this, the only way to cut it is with another offset, so that when you do the cut, it doesn't really like mangle it. If you tried to use a line tool to cut it,
it distorts, and quite a few experiments have been done to try to figure that out. But I'm going to take this and get that copy of it. I'm now going to rotate this onto another angle like this, one that I can put right on the end of it like this here. I'm going to hold and press F and click. And this is kind of going to give me like some little bowing, and I'm going to have to like move this around a few times to find a piece that cuts it the way I want it. You may have to move it in. That doesn't look too bad right there. Something that really doesn't make it flare too much. Over here, let's do the same thing. So we get something that looks like this. Now, once we get to this point, we've actually got something that we can kind of work with. Let's go ahead and copy this whole thing, like so. I'm going to copy, and I'm going to take it over to our vertical boards. Now, if you don't know how to make these vertical boards, I do have the board planks, Halas board planks video. Feel free to go and watch that. It shows you how to walk through and make boards that look like this for your build. Now, Control V to paste this in, and I'm going to rotate the visual area to the side so that I can place it up against the wall. Now, you'll know the difference depending on which side it's on. If I paste it like this, you can see it gets all distorted. If I get too close to it, it'll probably distort. Let me back out of here, see if I can get it to actually do what I'm talking about. Right there. That right there is where the physical location is actually touching the boards. We don't want the physical side of it to touch. We want the visual side to touch instead. So for this, I'm just going to rotate it to the other side and then bring that what we see to the surface. We'll bring this over, and I'm just going to pop it down here somewhere. Now, if we zoom in on this, you can see it fits right up against that surface, and it looks really good. We have no distortions. It doesn't, mess up our little lines and stuff like that. So this is kind of ideal for what it is that we're looking for. Now, say you think it sticks out too much, okay? And you want one that's a little thinner. So this is where that 1.5 voxel comes into place, and we're going to do and treat it the same way as we did this one. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let's go ahead and grab that 1.5. I'm going to copy that one, and this time let's give it a different angle. And as long as you do like a repeating pattern for this, you can actually create and the other one we did a 4 and then a 4 and then a 4 and then a 4, and it kind of overlaps. This one right here is a 2x3 on a 2x3 on a 2x3, so we get something that's a slightly different angle like this. 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, oops, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So we get something that looks kind of like that, and we can just kind of repeat this forever how long that we want to create the length of this board. And 3, 1, 2. And I think that right there should do it. And we're going to treat this one the same way. So let's go ahead and grab it. The best way to do that is go to the bottom side of these boards, put your mouse down here, grab, and drag it to the other end like this. So that way we can actually grab a hold of it. Let's copy this one, and let's treat this one the same way. And bring it up into the air, paste, down one, paste, down one, paste, down one, paste. And just kind of rinse and repeat this until you get, quite a few lined up. And don't skip any, and then repaste and then paste again, because you will actually create some really funky stuff there. So one at a time, get this thing kind of lined down. There we go. That's pretty good. Let's see how long is this thing. That's pretty good. It's really long, so I've got plenty set up here. Now selecting all of them like so, and as you can tell here, we're going to bring this down. I'm going to bring the bottom up. I'm going to bring it up like 2 voxels each, give or take, and we're going to start doing the smoothing process now. So 1, 2. Let's get a good look at the side of it, and that's going to tell us if we're right or not. You want to look up in here. Don't look up at the very top, because this right here is going to retain that waviness a lot more than what the center is. And that right there looks pretty good. I think we did 2 or 3 smooths on that. Go to our selection box, grab it up in the center. Let's paint it so you can actually see the offset and make sure that it has retained itself, and that looks pretty good. Control Z, Control C to copy. Paste out this new piece. We're going to rotate 1 time, and we're going to start chopping off the end of it. So hold down F and chop. And come over here, doing the same thing. Hold down F and chop. This will give us that 1.5. You can see it gives it, some pretty nice curves, kind of, in that wood. It looks like it was more, handmade. Now here, let's go ahead and do the same thing. Select the whole piece, and we're going to put it over on our board and see what it looks like. So pull this out, Control C to copy, and let's get over to our wall, and we're going to paste it up there. Control V to paste. I'm going to rotate and rotate it again, and let's get it up by the wall so we can actually see what it's done. So you can get something that looks kind of like this. You got some wavy boards kind of going on in there, right? Looks good. Now, once you've kind of got this kind of settled and figured out, now we need to put some nails in it. We don't want it to go anywhere. And we kind of figured out something that was kind of interesting. If we go into our props and type in pot, or was it pan? Pan will work. All right. And just reach in here and grab one of these saucer pans. And I thought this was an interesting way to handle this, because we can actually rotate this and then shrink it down so that it is really small, and it'll be easy to hide. And you can kind of play with the sizing on this, however you want to do it. And there's probably another prop that can do the same job. So kind of look around and see if you can find something that's similar. But we have this little handle that kind of pops out of it. And we could use this to push it into the wood. We can angle that nail in various different ways so that it has some variance, like this, and just kind of keep the pot on the inside. And we're going to hit check, right click, tweak mode, hold down Alt, and we're going to drag this up. Do it 2 or 3 times and hit check. And we actually create a nail to kind of stick into our wood. And, you back off of it and you look at it like that, and you're just like, wow, that's pretty cool. Now, I've played around with offset nails, trying to get an offset nail that would fit in there. we weren't able to find one that would actually sit in there and not disturb the offsets that we use to create the boards. And this was a workaround. So you can kind of play with this idea. Now let me grab this one. We're going to tweak mode. Hold and press Alt. Drag it over and drag it up to the top. And now we can kind of modify this one just a little bit so it's not like the one on the bottom. Drag this out. Something like that. And kind of repeat the process. Kind of drag it down just a little bit. And we're doing this like 3 of them just so that we have kind of an illusion that it's got some thickness to it. Hopefully I can find another prop that actually does this better, or hopefully they'll give us a prop that actually, you know, we won't have to do this, but it kind of comes out looking pretty cool, right? Got some variances in our nails. It looks different and works out really great. And you can do that for pretty much all the boards. Now, I have this one. This is on a flat surface. There's no grading. There's nothing in here like this. Now you can create this just using your line tool in deletion mode. Basically cut from the bottom out here to up here, and then copy the angle, use the angle as a deletion on the opposing side, and then take your line tool in deletion mode to cut across here and across here. And that'll allow you to actually create a board that's off to the side like this. And just kind of putting that out there for you if you just want to make a regular, you know, angle board. All right. And if you're wondering how to make the nails that I have in this one, you can check one of my other videos as well, and it's in there. How to do nails. So with that, that's another tutorial. Halas. Love to see what you do with it if you use it, and it helps you in some form or fashion. Give me a thumbs up, give me a like, and definitely subscribe. And have a good one, guys. Bam.